Welcome to the Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with your host, Charlie Butler. This is where you'll learn to sell your home quickly and for more money. And now, the host of the Real Estate Show, the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. This is Charlie Butler here at WGBF AM, and this is the Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. We want to welcome everyone. You know, I'm feeling really good this morning because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a Cardinal jersey up on the wall. And
makes your day, doesn't it, Charlie?
Yeah. And seeing that St. Louis Cardinal jersey and the Cardinals hopefully going to get a wild card spot. They're not going to catch those Devil Cubs, but as the producer who's got a Cubs shirt on, shaking his head on the other side of the board, but he can't talk. I've got the mic, so we've got him on this one. But anyway, good morning, everyone, even Cubs fans, and here with and good morning, Evie.
Good morning, Charlie.
And for those of you that didn't hear us last week, this is Evie Barr from Waterstone Mortgage with me. She will be co-hosting with us. And how was your week this week?
It has been a wonderful week. So ready to get the next new week going and see what comes in.
And our special guest this morning, who we'll hear a little bit more from later on, is Jared Eagleson, who's the sales manager at Keller Williams Capital Realty and the director of new agent training. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning, Charlie. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing this morning?
Can't complain. Thank you.
So we were talking off air just a little bit ago about a lot of economists, prominent people like Gary Keller in the market and some others are talking about a market shift. And I don't think a lot of people maybe understand. They hear it on the news. And Evie, when you think about a market shift, what are you thinking about?
I think about the market generally slowing down. There are certain points of the year which might be pretty much a myth where people think it's going to slow down. Not always a myth, though, but normally it's going to be whenever school's starting. Sometimes there's a lag in the spring because of people taking vacations. And the big one that everybody thinks is during the winter, things slow down, which to me hasn't always been true. The market still stays pretty active. What are you seeing in the market currently?
Before I answer your question, I want to address something that Evie said that I have preached for many years is about the slowdown in the winter. And and for those that are out there that are saying, well, it's September and I'm just going to wait until next spring to put my house on the market. I'm not going to put it on. I don't want it setting during the winter. Here's the thing about the winter is that's one of the best times that I've found in my experience to sell a home. Because while I agree, there is not as many buyers out there, the buyers that are out there, they're serious. They want to buy a home. They're not tromping around in the snow in 10 and 20 degree weather just to come in and look at your paint colors, okay? They want to buy a house.
Yes.
And so not getting on any of our fellow agents, but I think sometimes it gets in the agents' heads that I can't sell a home during the winter, so I'm going to I'm just not going to work. And those people are there. And I've known Jared and I have known each other a long time. I know we've talked about this. And Jared, do you kind of see the same thing as far as the winter goes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Everybody thinks that, hey, I'm going to sell my house, put it on the market in the spring when the grass is green and everything is really nice outside. And, the yard shows its best and that sort of thing. But I tell you what, the best time to sell is when you have the fewest amount of, competition. The fewer homes that you're competing against, the better. And so the wintertime could be that time for you.
And, I agree with Jared 100%. But to get back to Evie's question about the shift in the market, what we're seeing, really I think it's an excellent time if you've got a home priced at $300,000 or under that you're wanting to sell, because those days on the market are still relatively low. We're not seeing as big a bump up in that. Now, you may you may watch CNBC or one of the financial news networks that say, well, there is the real estate slowed down in California, real estate slowed down in New York. And I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying it has. But here's the thing. I think we all found this out. I've been doing this long enough. All real estate's local.
Correct.
There is a real estate market in Los Angeles. There's a real estate market in Dallas. There's a real estate market in Peoria, Illinois, and there's a real estate market in Evansville. And they all have different fundamentals. And you're on, Jared and I are on the sales side. We see the customers are at a different point. Are you seeing any type? What type of slowdown are you seeing now? If you are,
there's still people calling in to get pre-approved. Our buyers are still being proactive to make sure that they can have their financing in place. There's a little bit of a slowdown, but we're still going good for this time of year.
Right, and I agree. And it's it seems like the back to school thing. There is always a little bit of a slowdown there, but I think that our market in particular has stayed pretty strong. I mean, we're selling houses people are still selling houses in a week to 2 weeks or less in some cases with multiple offers. And I think, Jared, your team is experiencing the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Homes are still selling very quickly. We are experiencing some inventory problems in certain price ranges right now. So anyway, we're not seeing that slowdown just yet, but we know that it's coming. The seasonality of the market is changing. School starts, it slows down a little bit. And the other thing you haven't mentioned is this presidential election that's coming up.
Good point.
That always will bring some uncertainty. What's going to happen? Maybe I need to wait and see. But the market has stayed pretty strong, and I predict it's going to continue to go strong after this presidential election, and hopefully it's just a seasonal shift, and that's it.
And when we say there's going to be that there is a shift or some type of shift, I hope everybody's getting the F in the shift here. I'm saying over and over. Okay, so but anyway, we're not talking about 2008. 2009 type stuff where the market completely crashed, where the economy, collapsed. We're not talking about doom and gloom. We're talking about maybe there'll be a little bit of a slowdown.
And Charlie, when the market does slow down, it's not the end of the world. Matter of fact, it creates some opportunity for sellers to reevaluate where they are in the market. So maybe we need to, address the condition, the exterior curb appeal, maybe adjust the price and become competitive. And the sellers that are receptive to that type of advice, they're the ones who are going to see success.
Something that we see over and over, just as Jared said, is, and I think these statistics are pretty close to being true, 95% of the time, the homes that sell the quickest will sell if they're in good condition and they're priced right. When someone has, and Jared, you correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but if there's an objection, 95% of the time, there'll be an objection to condition or an objection to price.
That's true. It's a beauty contest and a pricing war all at the same time.
Good point. So Evie, we get these kind of jumping around here, but something that just come to mind, though, was a program that you guys have that Jared, I know Jared has, I have, any other agents listening have lost deals because of this, but we were talking your repair escrow.
Yes.
And I'm just going to give a scenario that probably a lot of people can relate to. Is you sell your home, and they do the home inspection, and let's say the buyer is getting FHA financing.
Yes.
And that we find out that the house needs a new roof. Well, the seller will be okay with putting that roof on, but they can't afford to do it until after the sale closes. And usually those deals fall through but it's from what you're telling us, Waterstone's got a product now where those deals don't necessarily have to fall through.
That's correct. Waterstone's really good about coming up with solutions for, honestly, both buyers and sellers. And one of those that we come out with is the repair escrow program. So in your scenario where you have a seller and the inspection shows that the house needs a new roof, but the seller needs to use the proceeds from the sale of their home to finance the roof, we can get bids from 2 licensed contractors for all the repair work that will need to be done. The bids have to be approved through our underwriters as the loan's going through the underwriting system. But then that will allow us to escrow after closing for the repairs that need to be done. So if they aren't going to have the proceeds until they close the loan and they get the money, then we can pay out afterwards. Generally, the work needs to be done within 60 days.
Okay, I got a question for you on that, if you don't mind. Does it have to be a required repair, or can it be an elective repair? For example, if we have somebody that, purchases a home, but they want to upgrade the flooring or the carpeting, not necessarily a defect or a repair, but it's an upgrade. Can something like that work?
Yes, yes. That's one of the neat features of this product is if you have bad flooring, if you have an ugly and dated kitchen. If you're competing in that beauty contest, as you said before, this helps the seller because the seller can truly say, here's our full price listing, and we will give, after closing, proceeds of X amount to improve the floor, improve the kitchen.
Yeah, so they can say, yes, we have an ugly kitchen, but we can fix that.
Yes, that is exactly right. And they know that up front. If Waterstone does the financing, the borrower can be financing as a USDA loan, a conventional loan, an FHA loan, a VA loan. It's available for all of our financing products.
Is there a maximum amount?
Yes, they can go up to 10% of the home's value or $50,000.
That's fantastic.
This is a Waterstone mortgage specific product. And how we are able to do this is, as we've talked about before, Waterstone Mortgage is a subsidiary of Waterstone Bank. So we aren't just a mortgage broker. We have that flexibility to fund our own loans. So in a lot of instances, whenever you have someone that needs a repair to the house, a lot of times it's got to be done prior to closing because the lender will not escrow for it. If Waterstone Mortgage knows about it up front, we can get in touch with underwriting, get approved, and just be able to escrow the carpet allowance, the kitchen improvement allowance after the fact.
That's the best time to do it.
Yes, definitely. Because you're going to have a seller, they don't want to throw money into the flooring or the kitchen or the bathroom because they don't know what their buyer's going to want.
Yeah, I got to say that, Charlie, this has got to be a blessing to you and the kind of homes that you list. But anyway.
Thanks, Jared. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Yeah. And I want to, and we've already scheduled you for next week, too. So I don't know, that we may have to change that.
I'm just glad that this is radio, not TV.
Jared's got a face for radio, too. So
you know it.
But also, any questions you have for Evie as we go through this, for myself, for Jared, you can email me at cbutler@kw.com. That's cbutler@kw.com. You can go to the Charlie Butler Team Facebook page, send us a private message. Evie, just so we know for questions, how can they get a hold of you?
Yes, I can be contacted by phone at the office at 812-463-3199 or by email at ebar@waterstonemortgage.com. One thing that I do want to go back to with this repair escrow program, it doesn't just have to be the seller escrowing once the loan has closed. If you have a situation where maybe your buyer really wants the house and it needs that new roof, but the seller's not going to have all of the proceeds. If the buyer is willing to kick in, we can put those both into the escrow account. So both the buyer and the seller are contributing to the escrow part of it. or if the buyer has something that they want to do and have that escrow after they've purchased the home. The big thing to remember is this is not meant to be a program for a total rehab of a house. So if it's a foundation issue or you're going to be moving walls, that probably won't work for this program. It's not set up to be the FHA program, that the 203K, which is for a complete rehab of a house. This is more for smaller things.
Right. And also for, besides calling Evie, if you have a house, wanting to see a house that you're, call us at the Charlie Butler team. You can call either 812-430-1708. That will get our buyer specialist. Or if you're looking to list a home with our easy exit listing, where you can fire us at any time, that's 812-449-0050. Get our listing professionals. But Evie, I wanted to, while we're on this subject, we used the FHA as an example. So Is it only FHA it'll work on?
No, it works for all of our programs, which is out of the ordinary, I know, in the mortgage world. But like I said, Waterstone Mortgage has that flexibility because we're a subsidiary of Waterstone Bank. So we're funding our loans. We don't have to sell them to a mortgage company like U.S. Bank or Chase right off the bat. We can go ahead and fund that loan and let it sit there for 60 days while the repairs are being done. One thing to mention, once the repairs are complete, we're going to send someone back out to make sure that the licensed contractor did everything they needed to do, just to make sure the work was completed. But Waterstone Mortgage, because we're a subsidiary of that bank, it offers us a whole lot more flexibility than what a mortgage broker would have.
All right, great. And again, feel free to call us and or email us to find out more on this program. We use Waterstone a lot. Everything Evie's talking about, they're super there, and they have got some other great programs. But yeah, call the Charlie Butler team, and remember, if we're the team. If we can't sell your house, we'll buy it. So let's, Evie. We're talking about programs. What about you've got a pretty exciting program coming, which I say coming up. You've had it out for a little while now.
Yes. It was announced at our conference this year at the beginning of the year, the Wealth Builder Loan Program. It's an excellent program for someone who has assets but really doesn't want to use the money for a down payment on the house. Maybe they would rather use their money to pay off their student loans. So the Wealth Builder is no money down. It is set up on a 20-year term. It is a 7-1 adjustable rate mortgage. And the thing to remember about that is how many people really stay in their house for 7 years anyway. The cool thing about it is because it's up on the 20-year term, then whenever that 7 years comes up, you're probably, if you haven't moved already, you'll probably be looking at moving to a bigger home and upsizing, and you should have around 30% equity in your house at that point in time. Even though you didn't put the 0% down, you also did not set it up on a 30-year term. So because it's set up on a 20-year term, you're paying it off a whole lot faster than what you would.
And your payments don't go up that much between a 20 and 30-year term, do they? Generally
not. It's really going to just depend on what your loan amount is. That's the big variable there.
I remember when my wife, the house we're currently in now, in fact, we had financed it for 30 years, and I was in a closing one day and had an attorney that was doing the closing tell me, make one extra payment a month, or make one extra payment a year, and your loan will go from 30 years to 19 and a half years.
Yes.
And this was real early on, and we started doing that. And our house was paid off in like 19 years.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing how much your principal balance drops down. Some people like to set up for the biweekly payments. I've been told before, instead of doing a biweekly payment, if that's not offered, if you take your principal and interest monthly, divide it by 12, then just pay that extra to your payment each month, and it's going to achieve the same thing as a biweekly payment, which is what you were talking about, adding to the principal of the loan. But people should think realistically whenever, especially if they're currently renting, yes, look at a 30-year fixed, but then also consider a 20-year, just because you'll save so much in interest by dropping the term of the loan. And if it's comfortable for you financially, why not do it? Nobody wants to be married to a house payment, so don't let it put you in a bind, but it's definitely worth it in savings if you have the ability to set it up for 20 years.
And with buyers, and the people who are thinking about selling their house out there, really listen to what Evie's had to say, because these are some great programs for buyers right here. So this is going to give you, by programs like this, is going to give you a larger buyer pool. So it's going to be a great time to sell your home when there are no money down programs out there now for not just starter homes, but for $300,000 homes.
Yes.
And we've got, escrow allowances where, that could, the money can be escrowed until after closing on. And that really, again, people think so many times these programs are only for starter homes, like say under $100,000. And that's just not the case.
No. With the Wealth Builder program, you do need a credit score of 680 or higher, but even though you're not paying money down, it's not the USDA program where you can only be in certain areas. You can buy your house anywhere. It's not just for certain incomes. The USDA program has income limitations on it, a ceiling. And with this program, you can actually buy a house up to, right now it's up to $650,000. So, and it's not going to be considered in our jumbo program, so there's this program, the Wealth Builder program, is really for anyone and everyone that can qualify, to buy that house with no money down.
And to get your house in the market or to find a house, call us, charliebutlerteam.com. Again, call us at 430-1708 or 449-0050. Jared, you want to give your contact information out for your team?
Oh, sure. You can contact me. The cell number is 812-305-2732, or emails jweagleson, EAGLESON, @gmail.com.
And we're coming in the last few minutes of the show, but and Jared, I don't think with all this great information that Evie's given us, we're not going to have time to get everything in with you. But can you come back next week?
Absolutely, Charlie.
Okay. Well, let's dive into just a little bit with you, Jared.
Sure.
And one of the things, and I think we all hear this all the time. There are always people wanting to get their real estate license, and they just don't know how.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Jared does for Keller Williams is he's the director of new agent training. I think there's people have a lot of fear, or I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how to get your real estate license.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of people, that have thought that, hey, I could be in real estate. I think that would be a fun career. But, how do I get my license? And then if I won't be on commission sales, how does that look? So there's a lot of unknowns there. And I think that's what most fears are based around, the unknowns. So every month we have a career night. It's the last Tuesday of every month. We have it at our office there on Morgan Avenue, 6:30 p.m., the last Tuesday of every month. So if you're thinking about a career in real estate, call the office, register for the class. You can register by calling the office at 812-422-4096. Tell them you'd like to come to the career night. We just had a really great career night just the other day. And it just seems like every month we have, 5 to 10 people that are excited about knowing more about real estate. So,
well, Jared, let's get into some misconceptions here about this. One thing is people, and I know you'll go into this career night, but for those people who can't come, let's kind of, one of the things I wanted to say, well, people think, well, I've got to go to class, and I'm working or my kids, so I can't go to class from 6 to 9, which is all those years ago when I got my real estate license. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But there are other options now, aren't there?
There are some really exciting options right now. You can actually get your real estate license online. They have an online, on-demand class. So if you work full time, have children, and you're just busy as most families are today, you can take that class in the comfort of your own home and just do it online, on demand. And it doesn't get any easier than that.
So what you're saying, since it's on demand, the instructor is there anytime. So you could get your real estate license at 3:00 in the morning, sit in your bedroom in your underwear, huh?
I know that's how you did it, Charlie.
You're assuming I had underwear on.
Yeah. That was back when Kmart was open.
And but no, people. So these sites.
I'm sorry, Charlie. I just can't get that out of my head right now.
That's why I was thinking, Jared. Not everybody needs that picture.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to finish this one out. Thank goodness we're almost at the end of the show. So they just have to go online and sign up.
Yeah, there's two schools. There's the recp.org or the myrealu.com. You go to both those sites. You can check it out. I think the pricing is very minimal. Somewhere around $350, $400 is what it costs to go through that course. It's a 90-hour course. There are 3 tests. You have to have a 75% or better to pass, and that's a cumulative. And then you're eligible to sit for the state exam. And so you can take the state exam as many times as you want.
This might be a silly question.
Yes.
But with the state exam and the class itself, is that going to prepare you for both Indiana and Kentucky?
Yeah. Actually, this is just Indiana. And I'm not sure if the Kentucky is online. I'm sure they have an online course.
If you have a license in Kentucky, if you have an Indiana license, Indiana and Kentucky are reciprocal with each other. So, like in my case, I had an Indiana license. So it's a little different. Kentucky, you have to go to the sheriff's office, get fingerprinted. They run an FBI background check on you. No, Jerry, it just wasn't me. They do it to everybody. Okay. And then once you do that, you have to you take the law portion of the test, which they administer as they do the Indiana test at German American on Vogel and on the 3rd floor of that building.
Yeah,
yes.
But to answer your question, does it prepare you to get into the real estate business?
Yes.
And yes and no. I mean, it gives you a good base of knowledge, but as far as what it takes to be a successful real estate agent, that's something that that we're probably that class is not the one for that.
Sure.
Jared, we're gonna pick up with this next week because and hopefully we can get some of these images out of our mind that we've put there, and no one will want to get their real estate license after they've seen this. But,
I'm glad this is radio.
So anyway, thanks everyone for listening. Evie, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Jared Eagleson,
thank you, Charlie.
We'll see everybody next week. Again, this is Charlie Butler Real Estate Show. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler. Join us every week at this time to find out how to sell your home quickly and for more money. For more information, email cbutler@kw.com or visit charliebutlerteam.com.